You may enjoy noticing those messages that are on the sign in front of our church on the street. We try to change them every week. We've got a volunteer in the parish who comes up with these great things, sometimes from her own head, sometimes from things she's seen, and they're wonderful. Last week's got my attention. It said, faith is a journey, not a guilt trip. But that's really interesting on Ash Wednesday, isn't it? When we listen to those readings and we see the ashes, and this sure feels like a guilt trip. The rules today are strict. This is one of the strictest days in the church year. There's only 2 like this. Today, we are being called to not eat full meals, to be hungry, and to avoid meat. We are being called to focus on something that we're going to remove from our life to help sharpen our focus or our self-discipline. And if not that, then we are going to add something to our life that is going to, hopefully over time, help us to become better people. We just sang, "Be merciful, O Lord, for we have sinned." It sounds like a guilt trip. But what we call a guilt trip actually isn't. There's a reason why we don't like guilt trips, and that's because we're calling them the wrong name. We confuse guilt with shame. And there's a big difference. And the reason we don't like guilt trips is because we actually are calling them the wrong name. Here's the difference. Guilt says, what I did was bad. What I did was wrong. That's guilt. Shame says, I am bad. I am wrong. They're totally different. Guilt focuses on our behavior. Shame focuses on our identity. When we are guilty, when we say, yeah, I'm guilty, we automatically admit something that's true. And that is, I'm better than this. I can do better than this. This is not my best. Guilt automatically has built within it, that behavior is not becoming of someone like me. I can do better. I know better, and I will. That's what makes Ash Wednesday a wonderful day, and Lent a really hopeful time, is because what we say is, we're better than this, and it ends today. God, watch this. I can do better, and I'm going to show you. That's a totally different thing than what we usually call a guilt trip. What we usually call a guilt trip is actually a shame trip. That's why people use it on each other, to shame and control and manipulate. But shame is a lie. Shame automatically disrespects God, because shame focuses on, I'm bad. And that is a really offensive thing to say about someone who is made in God's image. Each of us is made in the image and the likeness of God. So it's actually not possible for us to be bad in our identity, in our core. That's not possible. Not as long as God has left a human soul in us. So shame is something that we cannot tolerate, because shame sets us up for all of the worst things in life. Research shows that shame sets us up for addiction problems and aggression and violence and bullying and suicide in the most extreme cases. Guilt is the exact opposite. Healthy guilt makes a person stronger, wiser, more aware of their identity, and more in touch with our potential. Guilt shows strength. It shows I'm capable of better. My potential is way more than this, and I choose to seek it now. I no longer am willing to live below my potential, because there is untapped richness in me. And my living below my potential ends today. It is true that God loves us endlessly, without limits. And it's also true that God does not always approve of our behavior. And so for those things that need change, we say, we're better than this. That ends today.